Hey guys, this is Sam Helix, and today we're going to talk about basic EQing. So EQing is basically taking away frequencies that are unwanted or that you basically do not need in your mix. Using EQ effectively can be a major role in making your track sound professional and clean. So let's get right into FL Studio and I'll show you the basic of EQing.
Okay, so here we are in FL Studio. I made a very simple project. I made a very simple track. Let me actually get rid of this EQ here. I'm going to show you what it sounds like. It's not really that fancy. The sounds aren't really that super awesome quality, or the melodies aren't that interesting, but that's not the point right here. Today we're going to talk about like EQing, like the basics, the very basics. We can go into it like so much further, but I just want to give you like that first step into getting like a really clean mix. So I'm just going to show you this track, what it sounds like right now. And then afterwards, I'm going to start EQing it a little bit with the basics. And then we can see it improve, actually. It's really cool. I usually do this in the creative process. I know some people that like make a whole track and then afterwards start EQing. I do not do that. Usually when I pull up a sound, I just basically start EQing to make it like sound clean already. So I basically just do the basics while producing, and then afterwards in the mixing process I'm going in depth. So let's see what this sounds like. Okay, so basically what we got here, we got a lead, a sharp bass, a sub bass, a kick, a clap, and a snare / clap. So I'm going to show you guys these sounds individually, and then I'm actually going to EQ them. So let's start with the lead. It sounds like this. Sounds pretty dope on itself. But what I first always do on leads is get rid of the low frequencies. It doesn't really sound that nice like this, but in the mix it's going to be better. Because low frequencies are basically like your enemy. You don't want anything except for the sub bass and the kick to have low end. So the leads, they don't really need low end. Your bass is going to fill that all up. So let's just go with this. It doesn't really sound nice, but in the end it will be better. So now you can actually see that I'm using this EQ just because you can actually see what is going on. I think it's really visual, and I think that is the key to having like a nice mix. For me, it's very important to actually see what is going on and to see where the frequencies lie in the spectrum. So if you actually play the lead, you can see what frequencies are loud and what frequencies are not that loud. So if you actually disable this for a second, see, you're going to notice all these low frequencies, and you can actually see that there's too many low frequencies, and you can cut them that way. And you can also see the fundamental frequency, which is like the frequency that is the loudest, and that's going to be where the focus of the sound is. So for the lead, fundamental frequencies are always around 1k hertz. You're going to see that. This sound right here, this is where the fundamental frequency is. So that is really nice. So let's enable this EQ and let's just set this aside. We got rid of the low frequencies. So let's listen to the bass. We got a sharp bass and a sub bass here, which is kind of important because when you do have two types of bass, you kind of want to have the sub bass just as your low end. So it's basically like a layer. So you have this bass, the high bass, the sharp bass. You don't want any low frequencies in that either. So let's get rid of those as well. See, all these low frequencies, we don't really need them because we already got a sub bass under it. That is very powerful. So it sounds really weird again right now, but it's going to sound so much better in the end. That's why I usually always just keep the whole track playing while I EQ, but for now I'm just doing it track by track so you guys can really see what is going on here. You may have already noticed this, but if you play this sound as well, the fundamental frequency is around 1k hertz as well. So you really got to think of, that's another thing about EQing. You really got to think about which sound you are going to give the lead, basically. Well, now it's very obvious. We have a lead, we have a bass. We want the lead to take the lead pretty much. So you can actually dip in the EQ a little bit right here to get rid of those like 1k hertz frequencies where the lead is so much, and the lead is going to come through way more. So you can actually hear it when I play it like this. There's going to be more space for the lead, which is kind of important. Next, we're going to have our sub bass, of course, which is like with the sub bass and the sharp bass. If you use both, you kind of want to make sure that you find a good balance between the two. Subs, I usually don't really EQ. You can EQ out the very, very low end below 20 hertz, but to me, it doesn't really matter that much. But it's an option. You can do that. But together, they sound like this. And together, they sound actually really good. So let's have the kick. Okay, that sounds nice. That is good. Now let's have these claps over here. Again, just take a look at it. Okay, that's some low end. The clap is over here at 100 hertz. So you kind of want to keep that. But everything below, we can kind of cut it. So that is nice. Now we can take a look at the reverb. You actually can see that I already cut the low end in the reverb. If you don't do this, your track can sound really messy, because this reverb is basically going to produce a lot of like extra reverb frequencies. You don't want them in your mix, especially not in the low end. So I just EQ them out. Without, it sounds like this. And you see there's just some like rumbling going on in the low end. So I just cut that like preventively. Now I actually noticed that the lead is not sharp enough. You can actually go back to the lead to actually give it some more high end with like a high shelf or something. This is not the best example, of course, because it doesn't have like all the elements a track usually has, but you can kind of see the basics right here.
So I hope you guys learned something about basic EQing rules. There's much more to it, but I'll show that in a later video. If you did like this video, please hit the like button. Also, subscribe to my channel if you want to see more. Hit the bell icon to stay notified whenever I upload a new video. This Friday is the last Feedback Friday, so it's your last chance to get free feedback in our weekly Discord call. After this will be a member-only feature, so if you do want this last week of free feedback, go to my Discord. There's a link in the description, and I'll see you guys Friday 7 PM. Also, do not forget to check out my socials right here, and I'll see you guys in the next one.